Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and namaste. This is Shobha Mohan from Rare India, and it gives me great pleasure, and I think it's a privilege to be addressing all of you to share with you what my years in the business has taught me, where sustainability and responsible tourism is concerned. We call it conscious luxury travel, and we've been promoting the idea of conscious luxury travel for a long time. I guess I have been lucky because the first hotel that came on board Rare, which is a community of small owner-run hotels, lodges, retreats, and palace stays, was one of the first and most popular conservation-based wildlife lodges. That in itself laid the foundation for what Rare would look like in the coming years. As we grew organically, more and more people who believed that it has to be people and planet first joined our group. And today, we are a healthy and a happy community of over 70 hoteliers, lodge owners, palace hotels, homestay owners, and retreats from across India, Nepal, Bhutan, and soon to be joining us from Sri Lanka. I must thank Unite for giving me this opportunity to talk to all of you about what I believe is going to be the future of travel across the globe. This is a call out for all travel enthusiasts, all those lovers of travel, all those who are passionately engaged in promoting destinations, and also all of us whose very heart and soul is entrenched in the idea of moving from one place to another, exploring outside of ourselves, and in the process also exploring what is within us. When we began in 2004, every hotel that joined the community talked a lot about initiatives that actually worked towards treading softly on the environment, engaging the community, being low on harsh chemicals, or being conscious about their use of plastic, of how they use resources. I think till 2014, all this was a side story. Suddenly, the whole idea that travel can be much more than the hardware of things started to take very definitive shape. And as a community of hotels, we put out the idea that conscious luxury travel is center focus. I'm not too happy about using the word luxury, but over a period of time, I have started to believe that word luxury is essential for two reasons. One is to say that even thinking that we have a planet to save and we have an environment to preserve is a luxury that we should all be proud of. The second is, of course, without the word luxury, the whole conscious travel thing still signifies sustainability, is still slightly not in coherence with what the industry thinks about, especially not in the subcontinent. So when I say conscious luxury travel is the luxury of experiences, is the luxury of still having the joy and the luxury of being able to enjoy them. And together, I think we can work in a way that we can make all of this continue with us and take it forward to the future. I will take you through a small presentation to explain what I'm talking about. So that is Rare India. We are a community of boutique hotels, largely powered by owners. And I'm proud to say that every owner is involved, is striving to ensure that he is in some way or the other contributing to the whole idea of conscious travel and ensuring that the guests who come and stay with them really understand and are able to immerse themselves in the experiences that are people and planet friendly. So this is us. At our core, we brought the whole idea of conscious luxury travel to center focus. And today, where we stand, we are proud to say that every hotel on board Rare works tirelessly towards achieving some of the goals that we have laid out as important for promoting conscious travel or responsible travel. When we talk about sustainability or when we talk about responsible travel, we believe that as a part of a community like RARE or any other community or a group of hotels that are curated and are promoted as a collection, some of the elements of travel or hospitality like luxury, world-class service, comfort, and operational excellence are all a given. We encourage travelers and tour operators to start looking at things from another lens that looks at the attitudes of the hotel about single-use plastic, about low-impact tourism, by which I mean, where are they located? How do they perceive themselves as being gentle on the planet? What is the number of keys they would optimally have? These are some of the ideas that we try and inculcate where low impact tourism is concerned. Local community engagement, a very important part of the Compass Rose, and which is applicable across the board to all the hotels, is the local community engagement. Even today, 70 to 80% of our hotels have the local community who work with them. This involves teaching them skills, using their own skills, and also purchasing capability from the local community. So having them involved directly or indirectly with the hospitality project. Another important thing for us is heritage conservation in terms of repurposing royal heritage in terms of forts, palaces, mansions, etc., and how they are repurposed to become a part and parcel of the experience of the destination. Also, every other cultural component which becomes a part of the intangible heritage, like a festival that is celebrated in the community, or textile tradition that is almost dying out, a craft tradition that is probably not going to stay on for much longer. How all these are pulled into promoting the heritage of the destinations is another important idea. Safe garbage disposal, again, an element, a principle that applies to all communities, destinations, geographies, is the fact that garbage disposal is a very, very important part of sustainability and responsible travel, because how and what you do with your garbage, composting, that you keep them away from water bodies, you keep them away from dunking them over mountains and into the valleys, are some of the things that are taken into consideration. Wildlife, forest, and nature conservation is another very important part, especially where wildlife lodges and those hotels and lodges which are close to protected areas, how they behave with the flora and fauna around them. What is their principle when they're talking about wildlife and nature conservation? What is meaning treading softly for them is all about, again, becomes a very important part of the Compass Rose that defines the principles of sustainability with the rare touchstones. Water conservation, water you all know is a very, very valuable resource, and how water is conserved, both potable water, what do they do with water harvesting. In fact, some of our properties have been working on water conservation principles for over a few generations, and how the present generation continues to work with the project that was started by their forefathers becomes a very important part of their conservation story. Destination discovery is a very subtle way to say that we would like to promote our destination by bringing in people and project stories so that you can also become participative in the conservation efforts that a lodge or a palace hotel has. So this is the entire Compass Rose. What you will see in the center of the Compass Rose is a heart that is designed with the juxtaposition of two thumbprints. Basically, this is the human touch, an attribute we added as the COVID disruption happened. The idea is to say that travel touches human lives. It creates empathy. It also creates appreciation. It also creates experiences for you that change you and that helps you evolve. Travel can also be a means of creating harmony and understanding among people. It really changes you, and the human touch is a very, very important aspect that came to fore when COVID-19 happened, and which is why we added it to our touchstone. Coming to the small visionary attributes, the small visionary ideas and initiatives by each of our hoteliers across the board. And I'm giving only Rare Hotels as an example, but I can tell you there are many hotels in India, Nepal, Bhutan, and Sri Lanka that really work towards bringing about a collective behavioral change in the way hotels and lodges are chosen, not only by tour operators, but also the traveler, which kind of not only makes exciting stories, it is also great stories of transformation. You see on the screen in front of you, that's Belinda Wright, who is the owner of Kipling Camp, a beautiful conservation-based lodge in central India in Kanha. Around her is her team of people, all of them from the local communities. In fact, Kipling Camp is one of those lodges which runs 100% on the capabilities and training of the local community. Among them are housekeeping people, there are cooks, and there are naturalists and field guides. There are also people who take you around for nature walks and do a lot of other work, including operation work at the lodge. And right in the middle is Belinda with awesome Tara, who is the diva and the mascot at Kipling Camp. Tara was actually Mark Shan's elephant while he rode India and wrote his book Travels on My Elephant. He left Tara with Belinda and her mother, Anne Wright, and Tara today is the mascot for Kipling Camp. She continues to amaze and inspire people who come in touch with her. There is an activity that you can do when you're there at the Kipling Camp is walk with Tara when she goes for a bath to the Banjar River, which is about a half an hour walk away. Really excited she is, so she's running to the Banjar River while her mahouts, Love and Kush, walk with her. We encourage guests to go with her, especially when children are there. They really find it amazing. They love to scrub her down, and actually, in fact, Tara loves children. So that is the kind of human interest and animal interest stories that we bring on board. In fact, at Kipling Camp, not only do we address the challenges faced by the habitat, because the WPSI, Wildlife Protection Society of India, is around, Belinda also encourages you to interact with local artists who do the Gond art, which is a local tribal art, almost like the Aboriginal painting from Australia. And she also encourages you to go and look at other destinations in and around, go and explore villages and the village market, so that your understanding about wildlife is also about understanding the proximity of the community and what it does to them when they are in the vicinity of a national park. The product ultimately, which is the way your lodge or your hotel or your heritage palace looks and the way it is conceptualized, becomes the center of attention, which means it draws your attention to everything in your surroundings. For example, this is Rene Pani again in central India in Satpura. The architecture of this, each of the cottages that are there in Rene Pani are inspired by the local community buildings that you see. Each of the cottages are inspired by the traditional architecture of the local people. This does two things. You are in context with the rest of the forest around you. It also encourages that the local people continue to build their homes in the traditional style, which is perfect for the location that they are in. The concept and experience, of course, is another inspiring aspect of hoteliers and lodge owners who believe in sustainability, is because they also set benchmarks not only in architectural style, but also in the conceptualizing of the experience that weaves in everything that is in and around them into one swell experience. For instance, Glenburn Cottages, which is a plantation retreat very close to Darjeeling, is one of the few plantations over 1600 acres that is dedicated to growing Darjeeling tea. The service benchmarks, the design benchmark, the design of the experience that includes the tea picking, the communities around, the village schools that are in the 1600 acres, because there are over 8 villages there, the walks in the tea gardens with naturalists to experience birding, for instance, going down to the river to probably experience a stay in the log cabin. These are experiences that are woven into the Glenburn experiences, including the cuisine, which is a great mix of Nepalese, Anglo-Indian, Bengali, and North Indian cuisine. So all of this kind of comes together as a great experience for people who come and stay there minimum they stay for about 5 nights, with a lot of outdoor places for you to sit and experience and enjoy great views of the Kanchenjunga. So these kind of properties really set a benchmark, not only for the experiences they provide, but also the way they include environment, people, and everything into conceptualizing their experiences. Heritage conservation is again a very important part when we talk about conscious travel. How you choose, why you would choose a hotel to stay in can also be a choice based on the heritage component of a particular lodge or a hotel or a palace stay that you are choosing. This, for example, is a beautiful little fort in Rajasthan, pat in between Jodhpur and Udaipur, almost equidistant. And the family actually had worked and put in their personal time and finances into restoring what was their ancestral property. Today, it is a beautiful 10-suite hotel which the family together manages and gives you a great experience. I would like to point out here that when you choose a heritage hotel over any group or chain hotel, please remember small standalone heritage forts and palaces are independent individual endeavors and require a lot of commitment of time and money, which these owners have put in themselves so that a piece of history can be preserved for times to come. I proudly call them as custodians of history. Remember, when they are preserving this piece of history, it is not only the architecture, every other cultural element that is entangled with this piece of history in terms of art, craft, and cuisine, folklore, all of that gets reinstated as experiences that are offered to travelers. There is a lot of knowledge building, which is very essential. A lot of hoteliers, again, I won't say this is typical to rare hoteliers themselves, a lot of small boutique hoteliers, a lot of independent hoteliers are very focused on creating fantastic narratives that will really inspire travelers to come and stay with them. Not only stay in terms of hardware and the visual quality of it, it is also to inspire them to see what they have preserved and what they are trying to build awareness for, and also create knowledge for them. This tiger that you see to your left, if you look at it very closely, is actually a collection of various wild animals, birds, reptiles, mammals, and there is an elephant also you can see in the middle. This is by Jim's Jungle Retreat, which is in Corbett, which unfortunately had a very bad press for years, though it is one of our first national parks under Project Tiger, one of the largest national parks, and one of those parks that is being on the foothills of the Himalayas, has an amazing biodiversity. So a visual like this with a tagline that says, "Seek the tiger, find the jungle." It basically says when you're going in there looking for the tiger, you will find the whole jungle, because a tiger without his jungle is nothing. Creating awareness for habitat loss, insensitive safari tourism, hotels and products that have been creating a lot of noise pollution and creating a lot of mess in the area. All of it has been slowly been addressed, not only by the government, but also by the local lodge owners. So Corbett is back in business again, and in my opinion, one of the most beautiful parks on the foothills of the Himalayas. The fort that you see to the right is another amazing story of how a tiny fort, which just offers 6 suites and 6 tents, has made it to be a very integral part of India tourism map, especially in Rajasthan. Now, these are the kind of projects that I'm very fond of promoting and seeking help from travelers and visitors to come and stay, because if it wasn't restored and repurposed as a heritage property, it would have crumbled and fallen on the wayside. Human interest stories are really inspiring, and these are some of the ideas and ideals that are offered as narratives for travelers to choose one wildlife lodge over the other. And these are some very interesting stories. This is called the Starbed, and it is placed in slightly bordering the buffer zone forest, close to a lodge that is in Pench in central India. This is called Starbed. It is a star attraction also because you can actually sleep under the stars with this experience. Now, the human interest story in this is, it is set on a farm, very close to a farmland, which the farm owner has been trying to maintain for a very long time because there is the menace of the wild boars. As an initiative to encourage the farmer to keep farming, usually otherwise these things get sold, somebody else will buy and construct something over there, or even sometimes probably poison the wild boar or something like that, just to encourage and create awareness within the village community against this kind of practices. The owner of Jamtara Wilderness Camp has leased this place out, for which he pays from the proceeds that come from hiring out the star bed. My point is just to say each one of these beautiful ideas and activities has a little story that indirectly or directly contributes to conservation. One of the most important things I have seen is how do you reach out to a receptive audience? Again and again, creating fantastic narratives, creating experiences for people to enjoy, creating experiences that builds and inspires them about the destinations that they go to. It could be a community forest, as in the case of Tiger Mountain Pokhara Lodge, where a naturalist actually takes you through the journey of how this community forest was built with the efforts of the local village people, right down to the fact to taking you to areas where degraded pieces of land have been rewilded to form very, very healthy ecosystem where bird life is rampant. So these are some of the ideas that are used as nature walks, some of the activities that are offered to travelers just to get them inspired and engaged in the conservation activity in these places. It is not something outside of the realm of the destination. It is a part of the destination. It really adds to the destination experience. For instance, in Pokhara, Tiger Mountain Pokhara Lodge is not where the rest of the properties in Pokhara are, which are all crowded around the lake, because that is the popular destination. However, by bringing them outside of that, about 30 minutes away, perched on a hillock with great views of the Fishtail Peak, and to create a separate, is another narrative completely, which allows you to look at villagers working together, villagers working on a project, how tourism has impacted development activities in these villages, again becomes a very, very important point for you when you try and choose a lodge that you would like to stay. A lot of them are agents of change, and I call them change makers. Travelers and tour operators can join in, and they can become the agents of change as well. For example, many hoteliers have slowly tried to remove bottled water from their services. There are several ideas that I used. One of them is, of course, is to recycle, clean and sterilize wine bottles and offer water in them with a little story there just that says, say no to plastic. Now, these are attributes you even take back with you. As a sensitive traveler, it creates a transformation you might want to walk away with. Building communities is another important point. Not only do we build a community within the destination where every community stakeholder, a farmer, a craftsman, a textile worker, all of these people add to the experience of the destination, and tourism directly or indirectly contributes to their well-being and development. That is building the community at the destination. Then the community of travelers, and then the community of people who would be using and promoting hoteliers as this. So building a community is very, very essential, because for that, you have to believe in what we believe. You have to believe in what the hoteliers believe. You have to be convinced by what he believes in and why he is doing what he's doing, and why he would like you to come and stay with him and help these people in their endeavors. This, for example, is Changnang in Nubra Valley, where they work with local farmers. They grow layberry, which is sea buckthorn, which is supposed to be very, very high in vitamin C, in making juices and preserves, which is then, of course, sold, not only used at the hotel in Changnang, it is also a gifting and a purchase item for travelers. Social media narratives, again, a very, very important part. These are some of the ways in which you can promote. I often find that a lot of people are actually using hotels like this. They love the small boutique hotels, but the narratives is always hardwired to hardware. So imagine trying and exploring differently and starting to talk about these hotels from the perspective of what they do to the destination and the community. Imagine the impact that it can create. Imagine the number of people who can go there and how much positive impact that can be created. So narratives using a lot of conservation values, stories about water conservation, garbage disposal are very, very important when you're choosing a hotel, and why you're choosing the hotel has to be adequately spoken to your traveler and explain to him why a particular hotel has been chosen. That is, ladies and gentlemen, is a conscious luxury travel. This is a call out to all of you who are in the travel business, that conscious luxury travel is future ready. And with this whole conversation after COVID about how much we have to be valuing our planet and how much positive impact is possible simply by people traveling from one place to the other, is an important part of your travel strategy. And this could be something that would be valuable and important for a long time to come. This is a little note in Hindi, which says, "Earth ka kuch karo, varna anarth ho jayega." It just means that let's do something about earth ka kuch karo, varna anarth ho jayega. Anarth actually means disaster. So basically it says, let's begin doing something for the earth, else there is going to be disaster. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was my presentation to you. If you would have seen, there was this lovely little leaf floating around in all my slides. It is that of Ginkgo biloba. It is my metaphor for change. Ginkgo biloba, as you all well know, is called the living fossil, is a timeless survivor. Though it originated in the East, you can find it across the world. I have seen it on Oxford Street. I have seen it walking in some of the gardens in France. I have also seen it in the avenues of New York. My idea is conservation and responsible tourism and conscious travel has to be personally propagated by humans to inspire each of us to travel responsibly for a better planet. Thank you very much. Namaste.